Liam had always been curious. From the moment he first touched a book about the city's old history, he felt a pull toward places that others avoided. Today, that pull led him to the old church at the edge of the city, a place whispered about in stories but rarely visited. The building's tall spires reached toward the sky, and its stone walls were worn with age, covered in moss and cracks. There was something silent and almost alive about the church, as if it were holding secrets waiting for someone brave enough to find them. He pushed open the heavy wooden doors, and a gust of cool air greeted him. The inside smelled faintly of candle wax and dust. Sunlight streamed through broken stained glass windows, casting colored patterns on the stone floor. Liam's footsteps echoed as he walked down the long aisle, past empty pews and old statues. Most people came here for prayers or ceremonies, but today, Liam's interest was not in the surface church. He was looking for something hidden. Something no one else seemed to notice. Liam had heard the old stories from local historians about hidden passages beneath the church. Some said they led to catacombs, tunnels used long ago for rituals and secret meetings. Most dismissed them as legends. But Liam felt certain that the truth lay beneath the old stones. After hours of searching, he noticed something unusual near the altar, a small, almost invisible crack in the floor. It wasn't a mistake of construction, it looked deliberate. Kneeling down, he pressed his hand against the stone. The faint outline of a lever revealed itself. His heart raced. Could this be the entrance he had been searching for? With careful movements, Liam pulled the lever. There was a low rumble, and a section of the floor slid open, revealing a narrow stairway leading downward. The air that came up smelled damp and earthy, different from the church above. A small, faint glow flickered at the bottom, like a candle burning far away. Liam's pulse quickened. This was it, the hidden world beneath the city. He took a deep breath and began to descend. The stairs were old and uneven, but solid. Each step carried him further from the world above, deeper into shadows. The candlelight grew stronger as he moved, revealing walls carved with strange symbols and ancient markings. They told stories of people who had lived long ago, of human strength, creativity, and struggles. Liam ran his fingers over the carvings, imagining the hands that had made them centuries before. As he walked deeper, the air became cooler, and the glow of the candles illuminated more of the tunnels. The flickering light danced on the walls, creating shapes that seemed almost alive. Liam felt a mix of excitement and a quiet reverence. This place was more than he had imagined. It was a secret space where the past whispered to anyone willing to listen. Suddenly, he noticed movement ahead. At first, he thought it was a trick of the shadows, but then a figure appeared. A young woman stood in the middle of the tunnel, holding a candle that cast soft light on her calm face. She had a presence that was both mysterious and confident, and Liam felt his breath catch. "Hello," she said softly, her voice echoing slightly against the stone walls. "I wasn't expecting anyone down here." I didn't expect anyone either," Liam replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm Liam. I've been looking for these tunnels for a long time." "I'm Illyra," she said, smiling slightly. "I know these catacombs well. Not many people do." Liam was struck by her calm confidence. There was something in the way she moved, careful yet certain, that made him curious. She seemed to belong here, like the catacombs themselves were part of her story. "I've always been fascinated by the history of the city," Liam said, trying to explain why he had come. "These tunnels, they feel like a hidden world." Illyra nodded, her eyes reflecting the candle light. "They are," she said. and they hold stories most people never hear. If you want to learn, you have to be patient and pay attention. The catacombs will test you, but they also reward those who explore them with respect and care. Liam felt a thrill of excitement. He had expected darkness, dust, and silence, but instead, he found a place full of life, history, and now, a person who seemed as extraordinary as the catacombs themselves. Something about the way Allura watched him, calm yet curious, made him eager to continue. Together, they began to move deeper into the tunnels. The candlelight illuminated intricate carvings and strange symbols, each one telling a story of human ingenuity and bravery. Liam realized that this adventure would be unlike anything he had ever experienced. And he couldn't shake the feeling that meeting Allura here was the beginning of something much larger than just exploring old tunnels. In the quiet, flickering light of the catacombs, Liam felt the first spark of curiosity and connection. The hidden world beneath the city was alive, and for the first time, he wasn't alone in discovering its secrets. Allura led the way through the winding tunnels, her candle casting soft shadows on the walls. Liam followed closely, careful not to stumble on the uneven stones. The deeper they went, the cooler and damper the air became, but the warm glow from their candles kept a small circle of comfort around them. Liam could not help but notice how naturally Allura moved. She seemed to know every twist, every step, as if the catacombs themselves were a part of her. "Have you been here long?" Liam asked, trying to break the silence that had settled between them. Allura glanced at him, her eyes reflecting the flickering candle light. "Long enough to know the catacombs' secrets," she said softly. "But I always discover something new. These tunnels change with time, in ways most people cannot see." Liam was intrigued. There was a quiet confidence in her voice, a sense of knowledge that made him trust her instantly. "I've studied the city's history for years," he said. "But nothing prepared me for this, the carvings, the tunnels, it's like a hidden world." She smiled faintly. "It is. And not everyone is meant to find it. You are here for the right reasons, aren't you?" "Yes," Liam said without hesitation. "I want to understand. To see what others have missed. And I think there's something magical about it." Allura's smile deepened slightly, but she said nothing, only leading him further. The tunnels opened into a larger chamber, the walls lined with ancient carvings depicting scenes of human courage, creativity, and discovery. Figures built machines, explored lands, and celebrated victories that had long been forgotten. Liam ran his fingers along the smooth stone, feeling the echoes of the people who had created them centuries ago. "These carvings tell stories of humanity," Allura said, her voice almost a whisper. "They remind us of what people can achieve when they believe in themselves." Liam nodded, captivated. "It's inspiring. I never imagined people in the past could be so bold." Allura's eyes met his, and for a moment, the flickering candlelight seemed to grow warmer. Liam felt a strange sense of closeness, as if the catacombs themselves had created a small world just for the two of them. "Sometimes courage is quiet," she said. "Not loud or proud. It's in the small acts, the choices people make when no one is watching." Liam felt a subtle thrill at her words. There was something about Allura that made him want to share more than just his curiosity. He wanted to know her thoughts, her feelings, even the smallest details of her life. "I want to learn more," he said softly. "Not just about the catacombs, but about the people who walk through them today, and maybe about you, too." Allura's lips curved into a gentle, approving smile. "We will have time," she said, her voice calm yet inviting. "But first, We must move carefully. The tunnels ahead are tricky. As they continued, Liam noticed small moments that made his heart race. Illyra passing him a candle when his flickered, brushing his hand lightly as she pointed out a carving, the way she laughed softly at a tiny mistake he made in reading the inscriptions. Every gesture, small as it was, carried a warmth that contrasted with the cold stone walls around them. They stopped at a narrow passage blocked by a fallen stone. Liam tried to move it, but it was too heavy. Illyra knelt beside him, her hands strong and steady. Together, they pushed, their movements synchronized as if they had done this many times before. When the stone finally shifted, they both breathed a sigh of relief, their eyes meeting in the dim candlelight. Liam felt a pulse of admiration and something more. "You work well with others," Illyra said, a faint smile touching her lips. "And you make it easier," Liam replied, his voice low. There was a moment of silence, the kind that feels both tense and comforting, as if neither wanted to break it. The passage led them to another chamber, larger than the first, with walls covered in more intricate carvings. Candles lined the floor, their flames reflecting in Liam's eyes. He felt as if he had stepped into another world, one created centuries ago yet still alive in the light and shadows. "Do you feel it?" Illyra asked quietly. "The history, the stories, they speak to us, even now." Liam nodded. "I feel it. And I feel something else. Being here with you, it feels right." Illyra looked at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable, then nodded slightly. "We are meant to experience this together," she said softly. "The catacombs have a way of bringing people together who are curious, brave, and willing to see the world differently." As they stood in the candlelit chamber, Liam realized that this adventure was no longer just about discovering history. It was about connection, trust, and perhaps something more, something neither of them fully understood yet, but both felt deeply. The catacombs had begun their magic, and Liam knew that every step forward would bring new discoveries, not just of the tunnels, but of each other. The tunnels ahead twisted and turned in ways that made Liam's head spin. The air grew cooler, and the faint smell of earth mixed with the soft scent of the burning candles. Every step they took echoed against the stone walls, reminding them that they were alone in this ancient, hidden world. Yet, with Illyra by his side, Liam felt a strange sense of comfort. "Stay close," Illyra whispered, her eyes scanning the darkness. "The tunnels ahead are tricky. Some of them are not safe for one person alone." Liam nodded, his eyes following her movements. He was amazed at how naturally she navigated the narrow paths and sudden drops. He wondered how she had learned so much about this place. "Have you been exploring here for long?" he asked. "A long time," Illyra replied. "The catacombs have secrets that only patience and care can reveal. I've learned to read them, to feel their rhythm. You'll notice too, if you pay attention." As they moved deeper, Liam noticed carvings that were more complex than anything he had seen before. Some showed people building strange devices, others depicted groups traveling far across the land. Every image seemed to celebrate human ingenuity and courage. He ran his fingers lightly along the stone, feeling the stories left behind by people who had lived centuries before. "These carvings, they're incredible," he said softly. "They show how creative humans can be." Illyra's gaze lingered on his hands brushing the walls. "Yes," she said. "Our ancestors left more than stones and tools. They left lessons. They wanted to remind us of what people can achieve when they are determined and brave." Liam nodded, feeling inspired, but also aware of the warmth growing between them. Every glance, Every small gesture, the way Illyra passed him a candle when his flickered, the careful way she guided him over uneven stones made his heart beat faster. He realized that this adventure was as much about discovering her as it was about discovering the catacombs. Suddenly, the floor beneath them shifted slightly, and a low rumble echoed through the tunnel. Liam froze. "What was that?" he whispered. Illyra's eyes narrowed. "A weak spot," she said. "This tunnel is old. We need to be careful." Liam followed her lead, placing his steps exactly where she stepped. The next section was narrow and treacherous, with jagged rocks that could easily cause a fall. He felt a thrill mixed with fear. In that moment, he realized how much he trusted her. Every instruction she gave, every careful movement, made him feel secure despite the danger. Halfway through the passage, they encountered a small chamber blocked by fallen stones. Liam pushed, but the rocks did not budge. Illyra knelt beside him, examining the wall. "We need to lift them together," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was determination in her tone. Liam nodded, placing his hands alongside hers. Together, they pushed, counting in quiet unison. Slowly, the stones shifted, revealing a narrow path beyond. When it was clear, they both exhaled, laughing softly at the shared effort. Liam noticed the warmth of her hand lingering near his, and he felt a strange, happy tension between them. "You're stronger than you look," Illyra said, smiling faintly. "And you're braver than I imagined," Liam replied, his voice low, carrying a hint of admiration he could not hide. They continued down the narrow path, emerging into a larger chamber. Candles lined the walls, illuminating carvings that seemed to glow with their own light. Liam marveled at the intricacy, humans building machines, exploring lands, and celebrating victories. He realized that these catacombs were more than tunnels, they were a tribute to human potential. Illyra watched him closely, her expression softening. "It is beautiful, isn't it?" she said. "All of this, it's a reminder of what humans can do when they work together." Liam nodded, turning to look at her. "I've never felt anything like this. Being here, with you, it feels special." Illyra smiled faintly, her eyes meeting his. "The catacombs have a way of bringing people together," she said. "Those who are curious, brave, and willing to see the world differently often find more than just history. Sometimes, they find connections." Liam felt a pulse of warmth at her words. He realized that this adventure was no longer just about discovering the past. It was about understanding each other, trusting one another, and sharing the thrill of discovery. Every step forward felt like a new chapter in their own story, one that was just beginning to unfold. As they moved toward the deeper tunnels, Liam felt excitement and anticipation. He knew challenges awaited, but he also knew that with Illyra by his side, he could face them all. The catacombs were testing them, yes, but they were also bringing them closer. And Liam couldn't wait to see where this journey would lead. The tunnels began to widen, and the faint glow of candles ahead grew brighter, illuminating the rough walls in a warm, golden light. Liam and Illyra stepped carefully, their footsteps echoing softly against the stone. The deeper they went, the more intricate the carvings became, figures of humans working together, inventing tools, and celebrating achievements long forgotten. Liam's excitement grew with every step. "This is incredible," Liam said, running his fingers lightly along the carvings. "The details, it's like they wanted us to see every story, every triumph." Illyra nodded, her eyes reflecting the flickering candle light. "These catacombs were built to honor humanity," she said softly. "Every stone tells a story. Every carving is a reminder of what people can achieve when they dare to believe in themselves. They entered a chamber larger than any Liam had seen before. Candles lined the walls in neat rows, their flames dancing gently in the cool air. The floor was smooth, and the ceiling high, arched like the sky itself. In the center stood a raised platform, with carvings that seemed almost alive, depicting humans discovering new lands, creating inventions, and supporting one another through hardships. Liam stepped forward, mesmerized. "It's beautiful, it feels alive," he whispered. Illyra moved beside him, her presence calm yet magnetic. "It is alive," she said. "Not in the way we think of life, but through memory, courage, and determination. The people who built this wanted to inspire others, even centuries later." Liam glanced at her, noticing how the candlelight highlighted her features, the way her eyes held curiosity and warmth, the gentle curve of her smile. He realized that part of the magic of this place wasn't just the history, it was being here with her. "You've explored all of this before?" he asked. "I have," Illyra admitted, her voice quiet. "But every time I come, I notice something new. There are always stories hidden in the carvings, messages meant for those who pay attention." Liam nodded, captivated. "I feel like we're meant to find these stories together," he said softly. Illyra looked at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable yet gentle. "Perhaps," she said. Then, as if sensing his curiosity, she moved closer to a carving depicting a group of people building a bridge over a wide river. "See this," she said, pointing. "They worked together, trusting one another. Alone, they couldn't have done it. But together, anything was possible." Liam smiled, glancing at her. "That's how I feel with you," he admitted. "Like together we can figure this out, whatever comes next." Illyra's lips curved into a faint, approving smile. "Then we should move forward, carefully. There are more stories ahead, more lessons to discover. And, we'll need to rely on each other." As they moved through the chamber, Liam noticed the small ways she guided him, passing him the candle when one flickered, lightly touching his arm to steady him on uneven stone, pausing to let him read inscriptions at his own pace. Every gesture, gentle and natural, carried a warmth that made his heart race. They came to another wall, covered in carvings of people exploring unknown lands, climbing mountains, and gazing at stars. Liam ran his fingers along the figures, imagining the lives they had lived, the courage they had shown. "These stories, they make me want to do more, to discover more," he said, glancing at Illyra. Illyra nodded. "That's what the catacombs are for," she said softly. "To remind us that humanity can achieve greatness, and that courage and curiosity are rewards in themselves." They paused in the center of the chamber, the candlelight dancing between them. Liam felt a surge of connection, not just with the history around them, but with the woman standing beside him. For the first time, he realized that the adventure was as much about discovering her as it was about discovering the catacombs. "Illyra," Liam began, hesitating slightly. I I feel something here. Something important. I don't know what it is yet, but, being here with you feels right." Illyra's gaze softened, and she took a small step closer, the candlelight casting a warm glow over her face. "I feel it too, Liam," she said quietly. "The catacombs have a way of showing us more than history. They show us who we are, and sometimes, who we can become together." For a moment, the world outside the catacombs faded away. There was only the warmth of the candlelight, the stories carved into the stone, and the quiet connection between them. Liam felt a thrill of anticipation and curiosity. This journey was far from over, but he knew that whatever awaited them, they would face it side by side. With renewed determination, they turned toward the deeper tunnels. The chamber behind them glowed softly, a silent reminder of humanity's achievements and the bond forming between them. As they stepped forward, Liam felt a sense of purpose and excitement. The catacombs held many more secrets, and he couldn't wait to uncover them, with Illyra by his side. The tunnels grew narrower as Liam and Illyra pressed forward, the flickering candlelight casting long shadows on the ancient walls. Every step felt like stepping deeper into a secret world, one that had been hidden for centuries. Liam's excitement was mixed with a growing sense of caution. The catacombs were beautiful, yes, but they were also unpredictable. "Watch your step here," Illyra whispered, her hand brushing lightly against the wall to guide him. "The stones are loose in this section." Liam nodded, careful not to trip on the uneven ground. He couldn't help but admire Illyra's confidence. Every move she made seemed deliberate, sure, as if the tunnels themselves had taught her how to navigate them safely. "I don't know how you do this so easily," he said. "I feel like one wrong step could, well, you know." Illyra smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the candlelight. "It's all about paying attention," she said. "And trusting yourself. The catacombs test more than your courage. They test your patience and focus." As they moved further, a sudden rumble echoed through the tunnels. Liam froze, his heart pounding. Dust fell from the ceiling, and a loose stone clattered to the floor. "What was that?" he whispered, glancing at Illyra. "Probably a small cave-in," she said calmly. "These tunnels shift over time. We need to be careful." They continued, but the passage narrowed even more, forcing them to move single file. Liam's pulse quickened. Every step required attention, and the shadows seemed to stretch longer with each flicker of the candle. Suddenly, a section of the floor gave way beneath Liam's foot. He stumbled, barely catching himself on the wall. Illyra's hand shot out instinctively, steadying him. "Careful," she warned softly, her eyes wide with concern. Liam's heart raced, but the touch of her hand lingered longer than necessary, sending a jolt of warmth through him. "Thanks," he said, his voice low. "That could have been bad." Illyra smiled, though it was edged with tension. "We need to stay close. Every step from here on out matters." They carefully navigated the treacherous section until they reached a small chamber. The walls were carved with intricate images of humans building bridges, exploring distant lands, and helping each other through challenges. Liam ran his fingers along the stone, feeling the history beneath his hands. "These carvings, they remind me of why I love history," he said softly. "They show humans achieving great things, even when the odds are against them." Illyra stepped closer, her candlelight illuminating both their faces. "And now, you're part of a story too," she said quietly. "Not of the past, but of today. How we face challenges, how we trust each other, it matters." Liam felt a surge of admiration and something deeper toward her. There was bravery in Illyra, a quiet strength that made him feel safe even in the most dangerous moments. I trust you," he admitted, his voice almost a whisper. Illyra's eyes softened, and for a moment, time seemed to slow. "I trust you too," she said. Her hand brushed against his as she adjusted the candle to illuminate the carvings better, and Liam felt a spark of connection that went beyond words. The calm did not last long. A sudden shift in the tunnel ahead caused rocks to tumble down, creating a small barrier. Liam and Illyra moved quickly, working together to clear the debris. The effort required strength and coordination, and every brush of their hands reminded Liam of how close they were. When the path was finally clear, they both exhaled, laughter breaking the tension. "We make a good team," Liam said, smiling at her. Illyra returned the smile, though it was tinged with seriousness. "Yes, we do. And we'll need that teamwork even more as we go deeper. The catacombs are full of surprises." They moved forward, emerging into a larger chamber. Candles flickered along the walls, revealing carvings of humans celebrating victories and sharing knowledge. Liam felt a renewed sense of wonder, but also a deep appreciation for the bond forming between them. "Look at this," he whispered, tracing the figures with his fingers. "They achieved so much, and here we are, experiencing it centuries later." Illyra nodded, standing close enough that their shoulders brushed. "And just like them, we face challenges together. It's not just about discovering history, it's about how we handle it, and who we choose to trust along the way." Liam glanced at her, realizing that the adventure was no longer just about the catacombs. It was about her. Their connection had grown through every shared step, every obstacle they faced, and every quiet moment between them. In the flickering candlelight, he understood that the journey ahead would test more than their courage, it would test their hearts as well. With steady determination, they moved deeper into the tunnels, ready to face whatever challenges the catacombs had left to reveal. Liam knew one thing for certain: with Illyra by his side, every danger felt conquerable, and every discovery felt more meaningful. The adventure was far from over, and the bond between them was only growing stronger. White heavy check mark. This is part 5, around 75. The air grew warmer as Liam and Illyra approached a wider chamber. The faint glow of candles reflected off walls covered with intricate carvings, casting dancing shadows that made the stone seem alive. Liam felt a thrill run through him. This part of the catacombs was unlike anything he had seen before. The carvings here were larger, more detailed, and seemed to tell a story that stretched across generations. "Look at this," Liam whispered, stepping closer to a raised platform at the center of the chamber. The carvings showed humans building great structures, exploring distant lands, and passing knowledge from one generation to another. Every figure seemed to radiate determination, courage, and creativity. Illyra's eyes softened as she approached him. "This is the heart of the catacombs," she said quietly. "Here is where the greatest stories of humanity were preserved. This place is a celebration of what people can achieve when they work together, when they trust themselves and each other." Liam ran his fingers along the carved figures, feeling the effort, the struggle, and the triumph etched into the stone. "It's inspiring," he said softly. "I feel like I could stay here forever and still not see everything." Illyra moved closer, her candlelight illuminating both their faces. "There's more than carvings here," she said, her voice calm yet magnetic. "There's something meant for those who seek to understand, not just observe." Liam turned to look at her, curiosity mixing with anticipation. "Something special?" he asked. Illyra nodded. "Yes. Follow me carefully." She guided him to a corner of the chamber where a stone pedestal stood. On it rested a small, ancient book. Its cover was worn, but the symbols carved into it shone faintly in the candlelight. Liam felt his breath catch. This must be it," he whispered, reaching out carefully. Illyra held his hand gently, stopping him for a moment. "Be careful. This book holds the knowledge and lessons of generations. Treat it with respect." Liam nodded, his fingers brushing the cover. He opened it slowly, revealing pages filled with sketches, diagrams, and writings about human achievement, unity, and courage. Each page seemed to glow with the wisdom of people long gone. "It's incredible," he breathed. "All of this, preserved here for centuries." Illyra knelt beside him, her eyes scanning the pages. "It's more than history," she said softly. "It's inspiration. A reminder that humanity is capable of greatness, even in the darkest times. And that the choices we make, the people we trust, and the courage we show, that's what shapes the future." Liam looked at her, feeling a deep admiration and a warmth in his chest that went beyond the candle light around them. "I'm glad I'm here, with you," he said quietly. Illyra's gaze softened. She reached out, lightly touching his hand as if to share a silent understanding. "I'm glad too," she whispered. "Being here together, it makes this experience even more meaningful." They sat together for a long moment, the candlelight flickering gently around them. Liam traced a finger along the book's pages, while Illyra's hand rested lightly on his. The chamber was quiet except for the soft echo of their breaths and the distant sound of dripping water. In that stillness, they felt a connection that was quiet but powerful, a bond formed through trust, curiosity, and shared wonder. Liam finally spoke, his voice low. "It feels like the catacombs brought us here for a reason, not just to discover history, but to discover each other too." Illyra smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting both warmth and curiosity. "Perhaps," she said softly. "The catacombs reveal more than we expect. They challenge us, inspire us, and sometimes, they show us connections that we wouldn't notice anywhere else." Liam felt a surge of gratitude. This journey had tested him, challenged him, and inspired him, but it had also brought him closer to Illyra. Every obstacle, every careful step, every shared discovery had strengthened the bond between them. And now, with the book in front of them and the candlelight casting a gentle glow, he felt a quiet certainty that this was a moment neither of them would forget. They stayed in the chamber for some time, exploring the carvings, reading the book, and sharing quiet stories about their lives. Liam learned more about Illyra's courage and curiosity, while she discovered his determination and sense of wonder. Each story, each smile, each shared glance built a connection stronger than either had expected. When they finally rose to leave, Liam felt a renewed sense of purpose. The catacombs had given them history, inspiration, and knowledge, but most importantly, they had created a space where trust, respect, and quiet admiration could grow into something meaningful. Side by side, they stepped toward the next passage, ready to face whatever awaited them, their bond stronger than ever. Liam and Illyra climbed the last narrow stairway, the faint candlelight fading behind them as they approached the surface. The air above was warmer, filled with the gentle sounds of the city beyond the church walls. Stepping into the sunlight felt almost magical after the cool, shadowed catacombs. Liam blinked against the brightness, letting his eyes adjust, and for a moment, he simply stood, savoring the feeling of the world above. Illyra stepped beside him, her eyes scanning the streets and the sky above. "It's always surprising to see the world again after being down there," she said softly, her voice carrying a mix of awe and satisfaction. "The catacombs have a way of changing how you see things." Liam turned to her, his heart still racing from the adventure below. "They really do," he said. "And, being there with you made it even more unforgettable." Illyra's lips curved into a gentle smile. "I felt the same way," she admitted. "We faced challenges, solved puzzles, and discovered wonders together. And through it all, we relied on each other. That's something that can't be forgotten." They walked slowly through the quiet streets, the warmth of the sun contrasting with the coolness of the catacombs they had just left. Liam felt a sense of renewal, not just from the adventure, but from the connection that had grown between them. Every step seemed lighter, every sound brighter, and every glance at Illyra carried a new meaning. "Do you think we'll ever come back?" Liam asked, glancing at her. Illyra considered this, her eyes thoughtful. "Perhaps," she said. "But even if we don't, what we've experienced will always stay with us. The knowledge, the carvings, the moments we shared, it's all part of us now." Liam smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. "It's more than just history, isn't it?" he said softly. "It's about trust, courage, and maybe even friendship, or more." Illyra's eyes met his, and for a moment, the world seemed to pause. There was no need for words, the shared understanding between them was clear. Every glance, every subtle gesture, every quiet laugh in the tunnels had built a connection stronger than either had expected. "You're right," she said finally, her voice gentle. "It's about everything we've discovered about the past, about each other, and about ourselves." They continued walking, the city around them coming to life as people moved through the streets, unaware of the hidden world beneath their feet. Liam felt a quiet pride, knowing he had glimpsed something few others had, and even more, that he had done it alongside someone who shared his curiosity, his courage, and his sense of wonder. As they reached the edge of the square, Liam turned to Illyra. "I feel like this is only the beginning," he said. "There are still so many mysteries to explore, so much history to uncover, and I hope we can do it together." Illyra's smile deepened, and she reached out, lightly touching his arm. "I hope so too," she said. "The catacombs may be behind us, but the journey doesn't end here. There's a whole world waiting, and I can't think of anyone I'd rather explore it with than you." Liam felt a surge of happiness, the kind that comes from knowing you've shared something extraordinary with someone who truly understands you. The catacombs had tested them, inspired them, and connected them in ways neither could have imagined. And now, as they stepped fully into the sunlight, the bond between them was stronger than ever. They walked side by side, their steps in quiet harmony. Liam glanced at Illyra, noticing the determination and curiosity in her eyes, the warmth in her smile, and the subtle confidence that had guided them through every challenge. He felt a quiet certainty that this was just the first of many adventures they would share. Illyra looked at Liam, sensing his thoughts, and gave a small, knowing smile. "We'll have many more adventures," she said. "And whatever comes, we'll face it together." The sun cast long shadows on the square as they continued their walk. The memory of the catacombs remained vivid, the flickering candlelight, the ancient carvings, the puzzles and challenges, and the quiet moments of connection between them. Liam knew that the adventure had changed him. He felt braver, wiser, and more alive than ever before. And most importantly, he had found someone who made every discovery richer, every moment brighter, and every challenge worth facing. As they walked toward the bustling streets, side by side, the world felt larger, more full of possibilities, and full of promise. The catacombs had given them history, knowledge, and adventure, but the greatest gift had been the bond they shared, the beginning of a story that was entirely their own. And in that quiet understanding, Liam and Illyra knew that whatever mysteries awaited them, they would face them together with courage, curiosity, and a connection that no challenge could break.